What's up, interwebs? I'm Tim Green. I write in the pen name Tim RG, and you are listening to the Skyler Grant Podcast. This is the first novel and only novel I've ever pantsed and completed.
Wow.
And my buddy Adam from ZOP Gaming is reading a chapter each episode. We
That's
are on
right.
episode 30. Adam, say hi.
30. Hi, everybody. How's it going out there today?
Good. And so he's reading that, and just to be clear, this is a very, I could go on for a very long time of saying very, first draft, unedited.
Absolutely unedited.
I think the last episode was one of the hardest episodes for you to read through because some of the grammar mistakes or missing words.
And sometimes I'd skip a line.
Yeah, that was your reading, but still.
It was getting difficult for me to read it.
But yeah. So that's what you're going to get out of here. In a moment, he will begin the reading of the chapter, and then we'll discuss it afterwards, what he wants to bring up about the chapter and the story. I'll try to bring up what I can remember writing, why I did something here, if I can, future ideas, if I was to re-edit this or something like that, and all of that. So, before we get to the reading, if you go on to enjoy this podcast episode, why don't you go and give us a like, hit the thumbs up as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I got other writing content on channel. I just did my first live stream the other day. Also, I'll be reposting that with some modifications up shortly as well. So, and I have the content on here. So go ahead, listen to it.
It's actually pretty good.
Some of it is.
You know, it's quite mid.
If you want to see,
no cap.
If you want bad, go listen to the early stuff.
If you want real bad, go check out my channel, ZOP Gaming.
Oh yeah, he has a channel too. Even though I already said that. Anyway, Adam, when you're ready.
All right. Skyler Grant. Written by Tim RG. Narrated by Adam Daley. Chapter 30. April 25th, 4:12 p.m. I swear this would top my entrance into your birthday party, said Skyler, unbuckling Hillary's seatbelt. It was close, said Hillary as she jumped into Skyler's arms after she was free from her seat. The two embraced for a few moments before Skyler lowered her feet into the road. However, you coming out of a birthday cake still at the top. At that moment, Skyler jerked his head to the left, looked down the road to see 3 more vans headed their way. We gotta move. Where's Jared? He's in the back. Skyler, he's dead. The tranquilizer they used was far more than normal to take you down, and it was too much for him. Skyler just stared at Hillary, hearing this before he glanced in the back of the van. No, he isn't. Skyler turned, walked around to the back of the van, flicked his wrist like he did to the side door, so it was unlocked and opened. As he reached in the back to the stretcher Jared's body... Okay, 1 second. As he reached in the back to the stretcher Jared's body laid, he saw out of the corner of his eye Hillary join him. He quickly pulled the stretcher out and lowered it to the road, Hillary helped, grabbing the back where Jared's head was. Once there, he pulled back the blanket to see his friend's lifeless face. See? Said Hillary. He's gone. No, he isn't, said Skyler, walking to the left side of the stretcher. He squatted, he slipped his hands under Jared's head and knees and picked him off the stretched... Wow, that stuff really worked. I told you. Hillary, said Skyler, a little annoyed. He is alive. I knew they were going to try something before I even made the demand to Daniels to set you free. I gave Jared 2 things last week. A way to contact me where they could not trace it, and a solution that will nullify any of that tranquilizer. But while it does that, the person looks dead and even slows the heart to the point that even a heart monitor would have trouble detecting a beat. You don't think I would send my best friend into a situation where he could possibly die, do you? No. I'm sorry. I just surprised. How did you know this? There is time for that later. We have company. I need to go. April 18th, 12:41 p.m., Angel Groves High. Bam! Watch, Jones, said a husky Latino boy with spiky black hair, gelled to make himself look cooler, as he shoved a short, skinny kid with shoulder-length brown hair and horn-rimmed glasses into a wall, as he dropped his lunch into the trash. Next time, I won't be so nice. The bully continued on with his group of friends, laughing as Jared stood, thus rubbing his shoulder, wishing he had the guts to stand up to Adam Lashley. Since he was in 4th grade, he had gone out of his way to make his life hell. The last few years, he has not been so bad because Skyler was there to defend him. But since he was gone, Adam took every chance he had to run into, push, shove, hit in the shoulder he could. Jared never understood what he did to him. He wished he did, but if he asked, Adam would never tell him. If he did anything to him. Jared was just glad that lunch was almost over and he could get to physics class. Jared headed inside, where he glanced to his left for a brief second before turning his attention to the doors in front, where he wrenched his head to the left before ducking as a huge rock soared over his head hit the metal rail, sending a loud ring through the closed area. Jared stood up, looking at this rock that almost took his head off. He looked back to see who had thrown it. At the end of the building, he saw a kid standing with a black zip-up hoodie with a dark shirt under it and a little yellow writing staring at him. The head was over his head, covering his face. He was there for a second before he disappeared around the corner. Jared was not happy about this. Another person now joining in on his trouble. This one wants him dead, apparently. He turned his attention back to the rock before continuing inside. As he reached the door, he turned around. He walked back over to the rock and picked it up. This thins was heavy. He could not understand how someone threw it over 100 yards. That was not, however, why he went to it. He noticed a piece of paper stuck to it. He pulled it off, flipped it open. He was shocked to see it was to him, but was more surprised by whom it was from. Jared, come around to the side of the school. I need to talk to you. It is very important. Do not let anyone follow you. Skyler. Jared dropped the rock, jumped down the stairs, booked it down the sidewalk to the end of the building. He slowed himself down to take the corner before running halfway down before realizing Skyler was not there. He came to a stop, walked, not sure where he could have gone. Skyler! Shouted Jared, walking down the sidewalk. As Jared reached the corner, he was about to call again when the kid in the hood popped out from around the corner, grabbed him by his shirt, pulled him back around the corner and up against the wall. What did you not understand about letting people follow you? Shouted Skyler. Calling my name is going to bring them here. Sorry, said Jared with a huge smile on his face. He was so happy to see his best friend. Why are you back? If the police find you, they will arrest you for Hillary's murder. Hillary is alive, said Skyler, letting go of his friend. What? Shouted Jared. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. Daniels kidnapped her and made it look like she was killed so they wouldn't look for her. He set it up so I would take the fall. How do you know this? Are you sure she's really alive? I don't know. I guess talking to her on the phone randomly really doesn't count as evidence she is alive. Sorry, just wasn't sure if this was some way to draw you out. Trust me, it isn't. Then why are you back? Because the reason why they kidnapped her, I have the same thing. Only different. The only difference is I can use it. Jared did not say anything. He was completely confused by Skyler. Just said, huh? It'll take too long to explain, said Skyler, annoyed. I'll just show you. Skyler turned to his left to see a stick about 50 feet away. He extended his hand out, and the stick flew into his hand. Jared could not believe what he just saw. His were wide as they could be, and his mouth hung open. He said nothing for a few minutes before he regained his composure. How did you do that? Long story short, a lot of people have the potential to have abilities like this. A group is kidnapping anyone with this gene to study it so they can learn how to activate it and have power for themselves. I was on that list, but someone was able to delete my name off from it. I learned how to unlock my power, and now that I can, I'm going to get Hillary back. How are you going to do that? I'm going to go get caught. Jared could not believe what he just heard. His best friends say, how could that help him get Hillary back? That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. How is that going to get Hillary back? I'm going to send a message to Detective Daniels that if his people do not set her free by next week, he is coming after them. He will give him a quick taste of what he can truly do, and once he reports that in, they will free her. Free her and use her as bait to capture you? Exactly. That's where you come in. What? Me? Yes, we have a lot of like from a distance. Same height, used to have same build, but I need you to dress up as me when they bring her here, to let them think they have me. But this way, they will not be expecting me to attack them on the way back to their base of operations that they will make somewhere in this town. Isn't that dangerous? I could get shot. Yes, with a high dose of tranquilizer that will be enough to put me down, but kill you. Gee, thanks. You want me to die so you can save your girlfriend. It's not like that, dude. I would not ask or let you put your life on the line for me. Skyler reached into his pocket, pulled out a small pouch, handed it to Jared, who looked at it. What's this? This contains an untraceable phone so we can communicate without any risk of B cost. Also, high pressure injector gun and counter tranquilizer. If you decide to help me, you would need to inject yourself at least 30 minutes before you would get tranquilized. Anything later than 30 is too risky. With that in your system, you will look dead. Your heart would slow to a point where it would be nearly impossible for them to get a pulse. The only thing you would do is greet Hillary and tell her I'm freeing her on the way back to the base. With them thinking you were dead, they would put you in one of the vehicles, and I would break you out along with Hillary. Silence. Jared was not sure if he should do this. If he could not stand up for himself against a bully like Adam Lashley, how could he do something like this? I don't know if I can do this, Skyler. I know you can. You have more inside you than you think. However, if you decide not to, I understand. Again, silence. Jared knew he should do it, but just did not believe he would not mess it up. He then started to think about Hillary, how she and Skyler really cared for each other. Not like most high school relationships where you date to date. She has always been nice to him and even gave him advice on how to ask a girl to dance. If it was not for her, he would have danced with Melody Kipper at the Spring Former last year. He was sure that Hillary asked her to say yes, but it was still nice, and even Melody did not seem bothered to go to dance with a geek like him. I'll do it. You sure? Yes. Awesome. Now, there will be one more thing you will need to do, said Skyler, pulling 2 small metal dots from his pocket. Place one of these trackers on Melody, and keep one on yourself. I suggest your shoe. They won't check there. This way, I will know where you are and be able to free both of you.
Why is he putting a tracker on Melody?
Who's Melody?
That was the date he danced with at the dance.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah,
form.
yeah. At the former.
The former.
The semi-former.
The semi-former.
Why not on Hillary?
I don't know. Skyler cares more about Melody than Hillary.
Who is Melody?
But here's the thing, Adam. We're just finding out that Melanie has been captured as well.
Yeah, where's this girl?
Clearly a misprint of the name Hillary for Hillary.
You probably had Melody on the mind.
Yep. After saying it.
So many questions now. You'll have to tune in to the next episode to find out.
All right, Adam. So I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, definitely.
What was what are you saying?
Oh no,
voice for Skyler.
Skyler needed to really put the fear of God into Jared. You needed to show him how, because it is really important to. This plan has to happen. So, Skyler, at the age of 14, 15, 16 years old, somewhere.
Yeah.
He's early teens. He is trying so hard to be super serious about this.
And then halfway through the conversation, he's not being super serious about this.
I don't know what it was. You wrote the lines.
I know. No,
he
that's
stopped
me.
being. That was not my acting. I was trying to keep him being like, no, this is going to be super important, buddy.
I love how...
But you also wrote that massive letters and all caps. I was like, that is a different font size. So I got to give it some gravitas.
I love how multiple times now Skyler says, I would never let him put his life on the line.
And puts him immediately on the line.
I'll never let you risk your life for me. But he's asking you to get shot with a tranquilizer dart. That if he puts the anti any longer than 30 minutes before, he would get shot.
By the way,
would die.
How does he know how much of a dose they're going to give him?
I know.
How does Skyler know that?
I don't even better question. How does he have the antidote, the anti-serum of this tranquilizer?
Yeah.
The counter to this tranquilizer. How does he have that?
Days ago.
How does this all happen? Where does he get this? Spoilers, we don't find out.
That is a dropped thread in this story.
Also, by the way, he gave him 3 things, not 2 things.
Yeah.
Which, because he gave him the dots for the tracker.
Oh, no, then he gave him the dots for the... That was a second giving.
But no. It's the same time frame. It counts as 3 things.
No. He reached in his pocket, gave him the first things, and then gave him the dots.
Yeah, no.
Which I don't know why he's still giving only 2 dots if he needs dots for... Does Hillary already have a dot on her?
Melody's not there, Adam.
Where is Melody in this entire thing? Does she work for Detective Daniels? She's actually 37 and has been selling out these kids. She's also a midget.
Because I decided to milk this whole rescue attempt.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I thought for sure this was the chapter we're gonna get find out how he gets captured. Nope, we gotta wait for another chapter.
Nope. The next chapter is the same day.
Oh, okay. So we're waiting 2 more chapters at least to get to them finally getting captured.
Oh, probably.
Wow, I'm really milking this plan.
This isn't an escape.
Escape with backstory and.
Oh yeah, and yeah, the start of the next chapter, we're back at the vehicle.
Okay.
We haven't left the vehicle.
Okay. So, well, yeah. Oh, but.
Sheesh.
So many misspellings or lack of words.
Oh.
Put his head over his head. His head was over his head, covering it.
Yeah, like there it's like, okay, it's a typo.
Yeah.
There are other sentences where it was just like, and then he go do this. And you're like, Tim, I know you're better than this.
Yeah, this was bad.
I know that you were better than this.
I mean, yeah, this is the first unedited draft, so no, I'm not better than this when it comes to my first drafts, because I'm going to tell you, nothing has changed. I leave words out.
You still do. He go do this.
Maybe not that bad, but I do leave words out. I guarantee you, if you read some of my normal stuff, my most modern stuff, I leave words out in my first draft. But I'm hoping it's not this bad.
Yeah.
But that's why we rewrite.
Exactly.
That's the whole reason why I'm releasing an unedited first draft. Just show this is why you rewrite.
Exactly. And then there's a different story sometimes.
Because you think you didn't miss words or anything, and it's a decent, I'm putting air quotes around that.
Yeah.
Enough attempt of telling the story. And then you go back and read through it after some time away, and you realize how horrible it is.
What was I thinking?
Yeah. So,
how did we move from this to this? Week 1, they were just taking care of some rats in the basement of the pub, and then 100 weeks later, they're fighting a god.
I love how Jared becomes important for this and this only, and then I dismiss
Never
him.
see him again.
Oh, we see him again. He just gets, when we see him again, he gets relatively sent somewhere. Like, he gets sent away with uselessness.
Thank you, Jared. You are no longer useful.
Yep.
And that's it. And just Skyler turns and walks into the sunset. And Jared's like, well, thanks. I guess.
Well, he kind of does, because after they spoilers alerts. Actually, I don't want to spoil it. After a certain event, they have to. Jing needs to leave, and Jared gets put with him.
Okay, see, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's a valid reason. Jared is going to learn from a man who truly knows how to train these kids. Maybe Jared doesn't have powers.
No, Lily, it's the Skyler or someone says, you need to go in because you have no powers and you're useless in this situation.
Okay, so instead we go the most, most
Skyler way of saying.
Yeah, that is kind of the most Skyler way of doing it.
Oh. Because I'm pretty sure it's Skyler. I'm almost
because I
can
see Jared being like, Skyler is kind of a douche to everyone, and if it wasn't for Hillary, I think he'd be worse. And Jess is over there going, I told you.
She's like, we won't see her again. She does not make an appearance again.
I know.
Wish she did.
In your rewrite, she needs to be around a lot more.
Yeah, the sass that she will give.
It's all the sass in the world. You just need to, her line should just be, and then just sassed. And just leave it blank, and I'll go off. I'll fill in that blank.
Basically, Jess is the female version of Skyler.
Yes.
But she doesn't give sass normally. She just gives sass back to people who give her sass.
Absolutely.
Who give her sass or just a sass in general.
Well, it's mostly to,
or angst.
Skyler.
Or teen angst. So, but yeah, I don't know why I decided to drag this out, revealing and them getting away and then getting caught. But
this is one chapter.
I know.
We have next week moving on to the third part of it.
Oh no, and that's why I don't know. I figured it was gonna be this chapter, but I finished the book. I reread through the rest of it a month or two ago, and I don't remember it being this split up. So I know we're getting there. I know it can't be much for longer before we'll get back to present day, and then move forward, and then we get to a scene that's funny and ridiculous.
It's been since chapter 27 that we have been on April 25th.
Okay. So we're over 5 chapters now. We'll be going to at least 6 chapters to get through this one portion.
This all should have been one chapter.
Yes. Like we were saying, maybe there's that. This should... Actually, I think you could make a case that the last chapter and this chapter would be its own chapter.
I mean, yeah,
but it probably overall better off. It probably would have been
all
better
one big chapter.
One long chapter.
I mean, you could have moved it. It's just scenes. Right now, you have it split up as scenes of one arc.
Yeah. So, Actually, yeah, what I probably would do is keep it the way it is, but I would just make it be the Stephen King method. Chapter 1.
I mean,
2,
the best
3.
part about this is
Yeah.
you could just have it split up by the date and time.
Yeah.
Because it's like this time,
Yep.
and then there's a flashback, and then there's this time, and then there's this. It could still all work as one chapter.
But it's basically the Stephen King method. It's still a chapter, but you're having these scene breaks.
And I like the fact that it would be only this portion of your novel would have this like random scene breaks in a chapter, and then we move on to a back to a normal storytelling, and you're like, I'm sorry, what did he do for chapter 18? You're like, he messed with the entire formula, and it was wild.
I wanted to give you the sense of what this book was originally going to be like for one chapter.
Yes. Like, even better is every time that there's a April 25th, 4:17 p.m., it's told from a different point of view. April 25th, 3:48 p.m. April 26th, it's now told from Jared's point. It's like, no, this was how it was supposed to go in the original writing. It kind of is.
So, but I mean, it's nice to see a different friend of Jared who's actually gonna show up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Besides the idea that Skyler is convinced he's not letting him risk his life.
Yes, even though he's asking him to quite literally risk his life. Because what if they don't have tranquilizers? What if their orders from the top was to just put Skyler down?
Yeah.
Because it's easier to continue with their progress and just eliminate him at this point.
We can still have his
He
body.
blasted a hole in the wall.
We still have his body to explore, dissect and figure out stuff.
Exactly.
But
Jared would have had 2 in the back of his head, and he would have been like, what?
So
somehow he suicided himself.
Yeah, wow. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote it this way.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I do know I had plans for Jared to be a bigger part of the story later on. And I think he did get powers at some point in one of my spin-off ideas for one of these, but who knows? But yeah, some of those ideas I wrote out for potential sequels to this story were weird and kind of gross. The story arcs.
All right.
But yeah, it's not bad. But oh my god, the missing words and spelling mistakes was horrible for this last 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to bring up from this, Adam?
Nope. That's everything for this week.
This was actually a longer chapter too.
It was.
So, but since we have nothing else to add here, we're gonna wrap it up here. What did you think of this chapter? Do you agree that the last few chapters should have been all one long chapter, or merged with the previous chapter, or that previous chapter merged with the chapter before that, and this be the start of a new chapter merged with the other chapter that comes after it? You let us know down in the comment section. Since you made it here, yes, I'm just making it as confusing as possible so they get the feel of how confusing this book is. Because
fair enough.
now, if you made it this far, I'm assuming you enjoyed this. So why don't you go and hit that like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm. And subscribe to get other writing content on this channel. So some of that writing content will be appearing on your screen now, as well as the links to the rest of the Skyler Grant podcast. And it'll be the other video will be based on whatever is best suited for you I have on this channel. Click on whatever you want to do, and we'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.